everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies, featuring the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the official Black Spire Outpost cookbook. We had our first ever drink recipe last week to finish out the World of Warcraft New Flavors of Azeroth cookbook, so now we're into our new cookbook and making the appetizer, Pitmaster's Choice, which from the looks of it looks to be beef jerky. Or pork jerky, I should say. Let's go ahead and tell a little bit of the story first. Bakar the Butcher gets the credit for the delicious meats served at Ronto Roasters, but the real hero there is 8DJ8, aka the Pitmaster. This former smelter droid was designed to handle the heat, which is a good thing because he never gets out of the blasted kitchen. When he's not turning those Ronto shanks round the clock, 8DJ8 is busy adding other meaty snacks to the menu, including a jerky made from the thin bands of meat hung around his roasting pit. Whether it's Nuna turkey or Lugabeast, the Pitmaster's jerky is always sublime. Sadly, most of us haven't got a converted pod racer engine on hand to cook up our own, but these meaty morsels should help keep you satisfied between your trips to Black Spire. Interesting story there. As usual, the ingredients are waiting for us at the table, so let's head over in that direction. To make this recipe, we're going to need a pound of ground pork, which I have upside down. A tablespoon of dark soy sauce is what the recipe calls for. I didn't find it named like dark soy sauce. I'm just using regular soy sauce. A teaspoon of sesame oil, which you can apparently find this by the soy sauce. I did not know that until I was looking for it at the grocery store today. 5-spice powder. A pinch of salt. We also need a pinch of the 5-spice powder and a half a cup of sugar. So with the ingredients all ready, let's head into the kitchen and start putting the recipe together. The first thing we need to do is we need to combine all of the ingredients in a large bowl. So we're going to dump the pork in, get the paper that it's stored on out. Tablespoon of soy sauce. That's a little more than a tablespoon, but I don't think it'll end up mattering. Half a teaspoon of the sesame oil. Pinch each of salt and 5-spice powder. So just our usual, hold it over for like half a second. And the 5-spice powder. Okay. And then half a cup of sugar. Then we want to combine all of that whether with a spoon or with your hand, until everything's fully incorporated. Let's see, I'm probably not going to be able to do this with a... It's probably not a great mixing job, but seems like it'll do in a pinch. Okay. I'll go ahead and wash my hands off on that because you might be able to hear in the background, but I do have the water boiling as usual for the eggs because it is Friday and I'm starting to do a little bit of my prep for the week. But now that we've got everything fully incorporated, now we have what I like to call the hurry up and wait portion of the recipe, because now we want to cover this and refrigerate it for 8 hours or overnight. It'll be overnight, so it'll be tomorrow morning when we come back to this, which will seem like a moment later by the power of editing. But I'm going to throw this in the fridge and let it chill overnight. The pork mixture's been chilling overnight, and I just preheated the oven to 250 degrees. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a freshly purchased roll of parchment paper. I was planning on using wax paper, but a quick Google search put paid to that idea, where wax paper won't serve the purpose I need it to. Let's see, will this... Okay, yeah, this will fit. Actually, that works perfectly for this baking sheet, although that hair job might not. Okay, yeah, this is probably still workable. So we'll line it like that. So I'm going to have to probably fold this down just a little bit. Okay, that should work. So now we're going to take the jerky, the pork mixture, and spread it out in a thin layer over this. Hopefully it's going to be about 1/4 of an inch thick, but that's kind of a guess on my part on how this is going to turn out. So we'll get that off shot, and we'll go ahead and spread this out. Apparently that lid wasn't quite a perfect fit, but hopefully that won't be too much of a problem. Right, this baking sheet also may have been a little bit too big, but last time I thought a pan was too big, it ended up being just the right size, so we'll see how this plays out. Right, I'll go ahead and give my hands a... I can probably spread this down a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, I think we're probably about good there, so I'll give my hands a quick wash. Now that I've got all that ready, I'm going to cook this for about 15 minutes, then I'm going to cook it and flip it over and cook for another 15 minutes, draining any excess fat from the pan. So we'll go ahead and put this in the oven. May have to move the can... Actually, no, I should be fine. Yep, I can get it just underneath. Alright, so we'll get that in the oven. Then we'll come back in... Where's my 15-minute... Ah, here we are. 15-minute timer. I was just looking for that. So we'll come back in about half an hour. The jerky was already starting to fall apart as it wanted me to turn it in between each instance of cooking for 15 minutes. So the next thing we want to do is we're going to grab a knife and we're going to cut this into... They want you to cut this into rough squares. So these are probably going to be the worst squares in the history of God forever. But we'll give it our best shot. Some of them aren't even going to be squares. And then I'm moving them off shot onto... They want you to use what do they want you to use? They want you to use a cooling rack on the same baking sheet, but I'm actually going to move them off shot onto a broiler pan, because I also had to turn the broiler on. We can probably do that. Okay. Yeah, like I said, these are pretty bad squares, but they'll do the job, I think. Okay. These probably aren't all going to fit on this broiler pan, but we'll make do. Yeah, no, they're not all going to fit on here, but... we'll do what we can. At least they're not all going to fit and still be able to drain off, I don't think, but it might still be fine. I might be worrying too much. Okay, so once I dip my hands in some of the dishwater that I've got prepared off shot, we'll bring that cookie sheet out of shot, preferably without burning my hands. Jarring the camera is unavoidable sometimes. Then we'll bring the broiler pan in shot. So that's the jerky as it's all been cut up. So now I want to put this under the broiler and cook for a few minutes on each side until browning and crisping. So ideally, once we get done with this, we'll be back over at my desk for the taste test. Okay, so we're stopping over at the kitchen again after these just came out of the oven, and I think this looks like the part where I mentioned that I've actually never used the broiler before in my life. So I managed to burn most of this recipe black, which was obviously my own fault, but I was planning to bring these into work if they turned out, but obviously there are a lot of pieces here that just totally burned. Looks like there is enough to do a taste test, but again, not enough that I'm going to bring this into work. So I do want to let this cool since it just came out of the oven, and I'd rather not burn my mouth on the taste test, but there is enough here that I think we can at least do a taste test. So after I give this a little bit of time to cool, I'll meet you guys back at my desk for the taste test. As you can see, I did kind of burn it black, and it's definitely coming. I don't know what I was expecting for jerky. Maybe I was expecting it to be a little bit thinner and crispier, but let's go ahead and give this a taste and see what I think of it. For burning most of it black, what I was able to salvage actually turned out really well. Now, again, I won't be able to bring most of this to work just because I burned it so badly, but if I pay a lot more attention to this recipe, I could probably use it again in the future. But that will do it for this first episode of Mystical Munchies out of the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Black Spire Outpost cookbook. Next week, we'll be cooking the side, polystarch potion bread, and I expect it to be a Friday upload just because I was looking at it and it looks like a fairly quick recipe, but don't be disappointed if it doesn't go up until Saturday. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.